Number 8 on the Wokeism top 10 list. Silence is violence. Silence is violence. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So the woke meaning behind that, ready? Is, from what I understand, some of these I had to look them up because I don't speak wokeism. White people who don't speak up against themselves as being a part of the root problem of systemic racism are contributing to the civil unrest of oppressed people.
Wow.
And since it's violence, I suppose that could be criminalized.
Eventually.
Yeah. That's where it's leading.
Right.
Did you hear about Tom Hanks, how he was criticized recently?
No.
Somebody
Why was
came
he
out.
criticized?
Somebody came out and criticized Tom Hanks, who is a leftist, of course,
Oh, yeah.
because he's not woke enough, and here's why. Because in all of his historical movies, he always portrays a good white person.
You're kidding me.
I am not. This stuff that I've said this before on the podcast, you think you're on an SNL skit. It's not. It's reality. Like, you think the stuff that we would joke about 15, 20 years ago is reality. Like the stuff we said, oh, they would never go that far. Yeah, no, they're that far.
I don't even think my mind would have gone to where what
I
you
was
just
just saying,
said.
like, I didn't even know what you were
going
gonna
to
say.
Of course it wouldn't, because you're a privileged, evil white man.
Right.
So because he
can,
can...
can I ask this?
You should hate yourself.
Can he put himself in blackface and be a good white or a good black man in a film?
No.
No.
You're not allowed to do
Now, black people can make themselves white chicks, two white chicks, or whatever. Isn't there a movie called White Chicks?
Look, can I take a different approach? Can I say, well, I can say it, I guess, and we may disagree. I actually do understand the historical difference in that.
Okay.
I do think there's a difference, and I think it's because of those, I forget what they called those old films.
That's because you're more woke than I am.
Yeah, no, I think it's because there are certain things that were done in a mocking way, in a ridiculing way historically.
For sure.
And I think, like, even, let's say, the N-word.
Sure.
I can understand why that is worse than saying cracker or honky. And there's a reason I said the N-word rather than pronouncing it, because number one, it would get us kicked off.
Right.
Well, yeah,
But I actually do understand why there's a double standard there. I don't fully disagree with all the double standards on that. I actually do understand why it's worse because of the historical connotation.
Well, I think we always
So I think they sort of have a point there.
I don't know if it's a point so much more as, at the very least, we're called as Christians to be sensitive to other people. For example, someone in Christian circles thinks I can't eat certain foods because
Romans 14.
Right, so that they would be considered the weaker brethren, but the stronger brother would bear the responsibility of not offending or being offensive to the weaker brother.
Right.
So if historically speaking, that particular word was used in a derogatory sense, then it would be insensitive.
Right.
It may not be racist, but it would be insensitive for me to use that
in the
word.
context of Romans 14, not causing them to stumble, not being an offense to them.
Correct. Now, here's what I want to point this out when it comes to silence is violence as a woke slogan. It's hypocritical. And the reason I'm going to call it hypocritical is because, on the other hand, they also say words are violence, which is another slogan.
Yeah, and again, that's leading to prosecution if you say certain things.
Right, meaning that things that are said can so hurt a person's feelings that they feel as if an act of violence has been committed against them. So on the silence is violence means, no, your silence is leading to our uprising.
Yeah.
Right.
And on the other side, it's, no, your voice is violence against us. So, but how can words or silence both be violence?
Yeah.
Right.
Because they're complete opposites one of the other.
Right. Good point.
I think about this. Steven Crowder was doing one of his Change My Minds out in public, and a transgendered person threw something at him, violently threw something at him,
how about
attacked him, assaulted him. and he kind of sarcastically and jokingly said, "Oh, okay, that's real nice, sweetheart," something like that. And the woman he was interviewing goes, "Oh, you didn't need to do that." Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Right.
He was just assaulted.
You're right.
And you didn't think, hey, you didn't need to do that. It was when he said sweetheart, sarcastically.
Right.
Probably meant to
They were more sensitive to his words than somebody actually
being violent, actual
act,
violence.
an act of
because
violence.
you know what? They view everybody who disagrees with them as Nazis, and it's okay to punch a Nazi.
Fascists.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep, fascists and Nazis. So the question that I have for you is, how can silence or words be violence?
Right.
I can see how they could incite violence if you are saying,
So that's the thing.
we should hurt that person.
Yeah.
Which is what they do when they say punch a Nazi. And again, that's because they just, everybody who's...
And YouTube, we're not telling people to do that. We're using this as an example.
If we're saying, if they're saying go punch a Nazi, that's a call to violence.
When we did a podcast about the woke church, right? The stuff creeping into the church a while back, and one of the videos I think I sent you guys, or at least a video I was referring to, was these college students saying, "Oh, the minute freedom of speech causes violence," meaning stirs up their anger and punches someone, well, you don't have freedom of speech anymore. No. The person who punched the person goes to jail, and I still have a freedom to speak words.
There are already laws against calls to violence.
Right.
Similar to fire in a theater, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you're
Good point.
If you're actually calling to violence, which is what the left does, we have politicians saying, "Get in their faces,"
right?
Things
Push
like that.
back.
Yeah.
But when 45, we'll just call them that so as to keep things a little
fight
simpler.
like hell, which everybody says. In fact, Biden recently said it. Fight like heck.
Right.
And
then said peacefully.
Yeah.
Publicly
make your
voices heard peacefully and publicly.
Yeah. That's pretty plain and clear.
Yeah, that's plain. That was so. Now, if someone misinterprets that as something else, well, then that's on that person. That's not so. But yes, I agree. There can be an inciting to violence, but then again, let's define violence. Violence is a noun. Okay, and it comes from the 13th century. I've got it here in my notes from Edom Online, and it is, and I quote, "physical force used to inflict injury or damage." Physical force. Right. So, well, okay. Let's also get Bible on it. Isaiah chapter 59. We're going to need. I've got a few verses here. First 6 verses. Caleb, if you could do Isaiah 59. Let's get the Lord's thought on this.
Amen. He's woke. He knows what's going on.
He's truly awake.
Awake to righteousness.
Amen.
And sin not, right? Behold, verse 1. Isaiah 59:1. Behold, the Lord's hand is not shortened that it cannot save, neither his ear heavy that it cannot hear. Note already some physical traits that he's beginning to bring up. But your iniquities have separated between you and your God, and your sins have hid his face from you that he will not hear. For your hands are defiled with blood, and your fingers with iniquity. Your lips have spoken lies, your tongue hath muttered perverseness. None calleth for justice, nor any pleadeth for truth. They trust in vanity and speak lies. They conceive mischief and bring forth iniquity. They hatch cockatrice eggs and weave the spider's web. He that eateth of their eggs dieth, and that which is crushed breaketh out into a viper. Verse 6. Their webs shall not become garments, neither shall they cover themselves with their works. Their works are the works of iniquity, and the act of violence is in their hands.
Yeah.
That's the Bible on it.
Amen.
And hands that are defiled with blood, and I think it was verse 3. One of those verses. So we've got that there, and the Lord is very clearly defining that violence, acts of violence, and he didn't exclude speech, wicked speech, but he didn't refer to it as violence. He's just saying your speech was wicked. And I think that we have to at least acknowledge that the things that we say can either be taken wrong or we mean them as harmful.
Think about it in James. I mean, the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. It's,
Yep.
You
a
can't
world
bind
of
it.
iniquity.
Yeah.
A world
So
of
the tongue is a powerful thing.
Right.
But you know, I talked about prosecution, things like that. People take for granted. We as Americans take for granted why this country is great. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons it's great is because of the First Amendment, our freedom of speech, our right to assemble. And really, offensive speech is what needs to be protected because nobody's coming after non-offensive speech, right?
No.
Right.
And offensive is subjective.
That's the thing.
But the issue that we have is that they start calling it violence, and if that takes hold and becomes a governmental thing, that's how they'll remove our rights. And I want to draw your attention to a story out of westernjournal.com. It's a man jailed for not using his child's preferred pronouns. It's about a father in Canada. He tried to stop his 15-year-old daughter. Yeah, he tried to stop his 15-year-old daughter from receiving hormone therapy, and he also refused to use her pronouns, and was therefore arrested and jailed. And the court called this father's failure to refer to his daughter as a him as troublesome. It's not troublesome that a girl thinks she's a boy. It's troublesome that the father refuses to accept her illness.
Yeah, right.
It caused significant pain and ruptures what would otherwise be considered a loving parent-child relationship. This man is in jail because he refused to call his little girl him.
Didn't Biden just put a bill in place where you have to refer to, it's no longer mothers, but birthing people?
Yeah, birthing people.
Yeah.
Birthing people.
Yep.
Why don't we ask any real women how they feel about that term? Oh, you're a birthing person.
I would say that
mother.
Minimally 95% of the population would go, yeah, no, I don't want it to be birthing people's day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is
one of the, I forgot which politician it was, but asked the Department of Health official or whatever, whoever it was, said, "Can you define birthing people for me?" And the guy's stumbling all over his words, trying to avoid the reality of it.
Mother.
Isn't there a word for that? And I was so glad somebody was trying to call him out on it.
Who was it? Do you remember the representative?
I forget which representative.
I don't understand.
You can look it up.
But why change that rather than just scoff in the face of God? Why change that? Because a man, even if I call myself a woman, I physically can't have a baby. Okay, so a mother is the term used, right? I mean, I don't like scientifically.
But that's offensive.
Definition. How is that offensive?
What if she doesn't identify as a mother or a female?
Well, too bad, because she physically is a mother.
Yes, but you're not woke enough, Joe.
But to his point, that is an act of violence against me.
Yeah.
And if you are committing violence should be prosecuted. And he's right that that's where this is going. This is absolutely where this is going. So now, if it's federally speaking law to refer, like the federal, is it federal government people are not allowed to, they have to call them birthing people, right?
Yes, I believe that's what it was.
So it's in the federal government. So now, what happens when a representative stands up and says, I refuse that? My mother said...
It was the
Biden.
Disregard what he says. Are they going to get arrested?
Yeah.
The Health and Human Services Secretary, HHS Secretary, fails to define the term. So you can look that up if you want.
Because the term is
HHS
mother.
Secretary
Does it
fails
have who
to define.
the representative was?
I was trying to. Senator James Lankford slammed the wording changes, saying that they may be offensive to said mothers.
Doesn't say.
It's the postmillennial.com. You can look it up on YouTube.
Okay.
If you look up on YouTube, or maybe better yet, go to Rumble. Right. They're not as
Nancy
corrupt.
Pelosi was just asked, I just saw, she was just asked about how she felt on abortion.
Oh, yeah. They were asked if the president believes that a 15-week-old baby is a human.
Right.
And she said, if you're asking if he's pro-choice, yes, he is. Or for the woman's right to choose. No, that's not what they asked.
Yep, that's
they
what
asked,
they do.
is the baby a human?
Yep.
Yeah, and she said, as a mother and as
like that gives you more credence. If anything, that makes you more vile.
But the point I'm trying to make is that she just violated the federal law.
Oh. See, and that's how they get themselves trapped, because they push so hard, they start eating their own. Right. And think about women now. It used to be women's empowerment, and we're for women this, women that. It's no more. They serve their purpose. They got us woke people to this level. Mm-hmm. So now we're taking our eyes off of women, and now we're looking to the T people.
Well, it just
and all
shows
the
you how insane
genders.
this is.
Well,
they can't keep their own rules.
So
it's so insane. They can't keep them.
Right.
So, like, this is my point. And okay, we try to, think spiritually as much as we can. Hopefully, right? Okay.
That's the attempt.
This is so stupid that it's got to be a distraction. The point that it's even in Congress being debated, to me,
oh my gosh,
it's like, joke. Guys, this is a distraction because there's a cyber war going on, or there's
a border crisis.
Mother-father terms? Come on.
Let's throw something out here that'll get people going, this is insane, and just jabbering about this.
Do it. Yeah, exactly.
And here we are talking about it.
Right.
No, we're talking about the border crisis and stuff like that as well.
Because I think we are awoke to really what's going on.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you, Joe, though. I think the biggest issue here is that this is eventually going to be prosecuted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
freedom of speech.
And that's how they'll tear it down.
How will they get away with that if they're breaking their own laws? So that's where I think that maybe we'll be protected here.
Right.
Because their laws are getting then arrest Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
She just broke
the law. It doesn't matter. We saw what happened with 45, and we saw all the violence and the calls to violence. We saw the marches in the streets, the millions and millions of dollars worth of damage, more than 20 people killed, including somebody saying, hey, there's a Trump supporter over here, and somebody pops them.
Yeah, right.
We saw all of that, but January 6th, a bunch of people, January 6th, a bunch of people go in and act like a bunch of morons, and they trespass.
Sure.
And not one is prosecuted for sedition or for insurrection, but they're calling it insurrection. They're calling it the darkest day since 9/11.
Yeah.
Ignoring everything that happened all last summer, including politicians say, hey, Kamala Harris saying, oh, they're going to keep going, and they should keep going.
Distraction.
You got Don Lemon on saying, Don Lemon saying, or maybe, was it Don Lemon, or I don't want to misrepresent who it was, or maybe Cuomo,
somebody
that said, who says protesting has to be peaceful?
That was Cuomo. That was Chris Cuomo.
Oh, the Constitution.
The Constitution.
It does to peacefully assemble.
Yeah.
You're an idiot.
You think about it. What if our side said that about January 6th?
That's just it. He's not an idiot.
They know what they're doing.
No, I just think they're they're insane.
Yeah.
They're not stupid. It's like saying the Joker's stupid. The Joker's not stupid.
Right.
He's
just insane.
Yeah, right.
And that's why we see these contradictions, and they don't, because they're insane.
Yeah.
Well, to say something like that, about the Constitution, who says that protests have to be peaceful? Guys, be honest. A bunch of people watching him, they don't know the Constitution.
No, and couldn't care less.
Couldn't care less.
Did you see Chuck Schumer, in an interview recently, referred to special needs as retarded.
Yeah.
Did he really?
And it was the name of the
They wanted to make a home for retarded children. And I don't have a problem with them saying that. It's the correct term.
It's a legitimate term. It means slow.
Yeah. A fire retardant suit. It retards the fire. It slows the fire's potential.
Yes.
The name of the organization
I don't have a problem with
in it.
But I have a problem with the hypocrisy that if Trump said it, or if anybody else said it on the
right. Well, the right went after him.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, look at the term.
Remember when 45, he went at one of his speeches, and they go, look at him mocking handicapped people. You can literally say, is anybody saying anything about what Schumer said?
Yeah.
No.
And again, it's the hypocrisy. It's insane. All right, we need to draw this one to a close. So that was Silence is Violence. That was Wokeism number 8.